It's the Season 2 finale and the pressure is on at Crystal Palace. Knocked out of the domestic competitions, knocked out of the Europa League, and today I've got less than 10 games to try and qualify for the Champions League, or I could face the sack as Crystal Palace manager. Now, despite us being in an unprecedented 4th spot in the Premier League table, and player ratings higher than they've ever been before, as you can see, the board are not happy. Clearly we failed to win the Europa Conference League, clearly we failed to reach the semi-final of the FA Cup, and now with players starting to revolt, the likes of Jean-Philippe Mateta knocking on my door demanding to know why he's not getting enough game time, it's not just board confidence, but squad morale starting to dip at the most pivotal moment of the season. Now, as I've said before, I know that some of the biggest teams across Europe are sniffing around, just reaching their heads above the horizon, looking at some of my young up-and-coming talents. And obviously, if we don't achieve our goals this season, we could run the risk of some of our best players departing the club in the summer. A few players who certainly won't be departing, though. Firstly is this man, Sebastian Szymanski. After a bit of a slow start to life in Crystal Palace colours, he came alive against Manchester City, got an all-important goal, and I'm hoping that will kick-start the rest of his season. Despite him complaining to me about a lack of game time, perhaps Jean-Philippe Mateta has reasons why, because in just 22 games, he's scored 9 times, and he has been absolutely instrumental as a positive backup for the likes of Terem Moffi and Dominic Solanke. It seems like the arrival of Szymanski has really lit a fire underneath Diachi Kamada as his performances have gone through the roof. 12 goals, 9 assists in his debut campaign in a Crystal Palace shirt. A fantastic start to life for him, and it seems like the double partnership up front of Terem Moffi and Dominic Solanke is working wonders. The pair of them contributing to 29 goals between them, and they've knocked up 5 assists as well. And I'm hoping that this trio can be the 3 players that are going to lead us to Champions League glory this season. But after suffering a really disappointing 3-2 home loss against West Ham United, and so perhaps with the nerves starting to kick in here towards the back end of the season, I've decided to take matters into my own hands, and that is why we're going to be kicking off our first played game in the episode at home in front of the Selhurst Park fans here against our arch rivals in London, Fulham, as we aim to get a much needed 3 points back on the board. It is at the back though that I am going to have to make a couple of changes due to a little bit of fatigue coming in. You'll see Henderson does keep his place in goal, but it's Kyle Walker-Peters, Mark Gay, Jefferson Lerma, Pacho and Merlin all start at the back. It's the usual though up front ahead of them, Decore, Wharton, Kamada, and of course Dominic Solanke and Terem Moffi up front. Right, so a big game and a big performance needed here to really lift the spirits at Crystal Palace Football Club. We are still in 4th place in the Premier League, but any slip-ups now, we are going to be really facing some troubles if we want to qualify for Champions League football. So it's Diachi Kamada all the way out to Kyle Walker-Peters on the right-hand side, looking for redemption as he's really struggled to get into the starting 11 here ahead of Daniel Munoz, but he's got his opportunity now, as does Dominic Solanke, who drives down this right-hand side, looks to float it in, doesn't manage to reach his man as Fulham clear their lines. Rodrigo Munoz into Willian, who's playing on the left-hand side here, and that's a lovely ball through, and he's completely ripped through my defence here. Rodrigo Munoz into the box, the goalkeeper comes out, and he does just about enough. Oh my word, that is a real shaky start here, and evidence of just how shaky our performances have been as of late, and it's thrown into the box again when once again Henderson comes to our rescue. It's the second corner of the game for Fulham inside the opening 13 minutes. It's floated in, this time Pacho manages to get his head on it, only as far as Reed on the edge of the box. It's Kakare now, lines up a strike, takes the strike, deflected, another corner. Absolutely relentless pressure here from Fulham inside the opening 15 minutes. We cannot seem to get the ball out of our own box, and it's a header off the bar. My word, we are living life on the edge. Jefferson Lerma though, the man playing at centre-back, now has the opportunity to drive down the right-hand side. Can he pick out his man though? He's got options in the box. I'm going to look right across to the far post. It's a poor ball, and it did manage to find Quinton Merlin. And Babu for Fulham, really well intercepted by Diachi Kamada. That's exactly what you want to see from the central attacking midfielder as Wharton can't get there ahead of Kakare. Fulham win the ball back, giving the ball away in really dangerous positions all over the shop so far here, and we can't seem to win it back from Fulham once again. They've got it in Andreas, who strikes. Good save from Henderson once again. It's going to be that man, Andreas Pereira, who's going to float it into the box, into the penalty area. This time it just floats over everyone's head. Terem Moffi doesn't do a good enough job of clearing his lines. This time Merlin, though, in place of Tyreek Mitchell, just about manages to get there first, and now he's got the opportunity to try and see if he can streak away here. Finds Adam Wharton, and the central midfielder can drive forward here. What options does he have up ahead of him? Looks like he's not going to try and choose any of them. Takes it on himself off the bar, my word. That would have been an outstanding goal if it had hit the back of the net. It's Reed now into Mbabu on the right-hand side. A real end-to-end game here. Both teams have hit the bar so far in the opening 35 minutes, but neither can find the back of the net as Fulham have got to throw in, and Mbabu's going to take into Iwobi. Back to Mbabu down this right-hand side. They've got options in the box. They decide not to use any of them. Instead, they play it short and they go central. Mbabu picks it up once again, though. Now they play it over to the right-hand side and they throw it into the box. This time it's Mark Gay who heads it clear. What can Fulham do here in a really dangerous position? Andreas Pereira right on the edge of the box. Mbabu has it once again. Anything we've got to do to try and clear our lines as Mark Gay wins it back in a really good position. Really well done. Dominic Solanke dinks it over. Looks for Kamada, who tries to release... tried to release Mark Gay. The one man that you didn't want in that position. The centre-back is in the up-front position. And Terem Moffi now, a much better job. Dinks it over to Dominic Solanke. Has the Englishman stayed on side? No, he hasn't. Well, I think I need a moment to catch my breath here at the beginning of the second half in what has been an absolutely frenetic opening 45 minutes as Dominic Solanke has won the ball back in a really good position. The Englishman takes it on himself. He couldn't take it one step further. Really good defending in the end from the Fulham back line. Andreas Pereira in the centre of the pitch now. Into Reed. Reed has got a ball into Iwobi, who's come central. And that's a lovely ball out to Mbabu on the right-hand side. Can he try and see if he can go past Pacho? The centre-back can't hold him off, sorry. Mbabu tries to go past Merlin. Does go past Merlin. And it's another big save from Henderson to keep us in the game. Well, I'm losing count of the amount of corners that Fulham have had so far. And it looks like they're starting off this second half exactly the same way that they started off the first. It's Quinton Merlin with the header away. Only out as far as Willian, who picks it up about 30 yards from goal. But they still have an option of Kakare into Bassi. Lovely turn. Tried to get away from Jefferson Lerma. Has got away from Jefferson Lerma. Continues into the box. We just can't seem to put a challenge in. It's all too easy. He just shrugged off the challenge. He was too strong for Jefferson Lerma. And frustratingly for me, Fulham take a 1-0 lead. Well, I was smashing circle trying to get him to put a challenge in, and he refused to do anything whatsoever. Perhaps he was mindful of giving away a penalty, but in these circumstances, it hasn't worked out either, as Dean Henderson can't cling on to his clean sheet. Fulham take the lead, much to my frustration, 1-0. Well, desperate times call for desperate measures, and that is why I am making a bold decision. I've completely switched up the formation. Szymanski, Munoz and Mitchell all come on to try and see if I can inject some sort of creativity and spark into my attack in the remaining 25 minutes. So it's Pacho now. Out to Tarek Mitchell, right on the left-hand side here, brings the ball forward, lays a lovely pass into the path of Terry Moffey, and now finally things are looking like they're going to click here as Moffey drives into the box, can't go past two players, but we get a corner for our troubles. And it's going to be the substitute Szymanski who's going to come on and take it now with his left foot, just going to try and bend this one into the penalty spot, into Dominic Solanke over the bar. Mark Gay. Into Szymanski, lovely pass into Kamada, and now with that extra attacker up front, we're really starting to open up Fulham here. Tarek Mitchell right across to the right hand side into Daniel Munoz. Munoz now, can he cut it back? Does cut it back to Dominic Solanke, and that is exactly what the doctor ordered. That is the perfect way to combine to get us back on level terms here at Selhurst Park. We'll talk about wanting your substitutes to make an impact. My word, they've done so. Munoz just coming on has got the assist, and that is still a wonderful finish from Dominic Solanke. Just curled it away from the goalkeeper. Absolutely beautiful stuff. Wasn't even looking at the goal. Doesn't need to. A striker with his instincts knows exactly where the back of the net is. 1-1. Fulham looking to strike back immediately here with Iwobi into Andreas Pereira. What a save from Henderson. And look how much it means to him and the rest of the players. They know how important that moment was in this game. Let's take a look at the replay here. Right on the spot. My word. What a phenomenal save. Henderson's been absolutely outstanding today. But with about 10 minutes remaining on the clock here at Fulham, we've got a corner, and once again they are back in the ascendancy, and Diop just puts that one wide. So it's Jefferson Lerma now, floats it right the way over to Tarek Mitchell on the left-hand side to really stretch the play here, and the left-back now plays it into Kamada, the central attacking midfielder, can try and see if he can burst past Reed. That's a horrendous challenge right from behind, and the referee doesn't even issue a card. What are you doing? I mean, let's take a look at the replay here. That is an absolute disgrace. Makes no attempt to play the ball, doesn't get hold of it, goes through the back of him, two-footed. That should be a red card. And so it is going to be the man who was fouled who's going to be the man to take the free kick, and I'm just going to try and see if I can float this one into the box. It is into the box. I was looking for Decore, couldn't quite find him, headed clear though. And now Fulham have got the chance to counter-attack with Munoz into Kakare into Iwobi. Iwobi's going to try and go one-on-one with Mark Gay here. Has the Englishman done enough to hold him up? He has, but Kakare has it once again, and Fulham really have a good opportunity. Into the box goes Ricardo Munoz, tries to bend it round the corner, doesn't able to though. Mark Gay with the throw into Sebastian Szymanski, turning, weaving, trying to get away from a challenge, does do just that. Decore now releases Dominic Munoz, and Munoz is now going to try and float it over the channel, looking for Dominic Solanke, couldn't quite find him. Good defending in the end, and the referee blows for full time. Well, we seem to just lose our impetus a little bit after getting the equaliser. It wasn't the result we wanted, but at least it's 1 point on the board rather than 3 points dropped. As a full time here, it finishes Crystal Palace 1, Fulham 1. As you can see, with just 7 games remaining, we've slipped down to 5th. Spurs have got a game in hand and us level on points, and if things continue as they are, we're not even going to qualify for the Europa League. We get back to winning ways though, away from home, a 2-0 victory against Leeds United, and we follow it up with another victory, this time 1-0 at home against Newcastle, and a 2-1 victory against Wolves makes it 3 wins on the bounce. But as you can see, both Liverpool and Spurs seem to be on the same run of form that we are. With just 4 games remaining, we are still in 5th, but the fight is still on for that final Champions League spot, and hopefully that'll give us the confidence to make it 4 in a row as we head to Turf Moor to face off against a relegation threatened Burnley. With the games coming thick and fast though, I have had to make several enforced changes to my team due to a bit of fatigue ripping through the heart of the squad. Henderson keeps his place in goal, Carl Walker-Peters, Lerma, Richards, Pacho and Merlin all come in at the back. Decore will start alongside Gray in midfield. Szymanski will start behind Dominic Solanke and Jean-Philippe Mateta up front. So Decore has it in the heart of the midfield and finds Pacho, finds Merlin on the left-hand side. We've got to hope to try and see if we can start this game off in really good fashion here as Mateta picks it up. Lovely little dance away from the defender. Merlin throws it in, looking for Gray in the post, and he just couldn't quite find him there right on the penalty spot. Decore will pick up the scraps though, and the central midfielder will float a wonderful ball out to an unmarked Merlin on the left-hand side. The left back takes it on, floats it back in. Is it a bit too close for the goalkeeper? Yes, it is. Kyle Walker-Peters into Gray now. Gray to bring it forward into Mateta, who started off the game very, very well. Mateta back out to Merlin on the left-hand side. The left back bouncing forward every chance he gets. And Dominic Solanke with a lovely header to give Merlin an assist and to get himself on the score sheet for the first time this game as we take a 1-0 lead inside the opening 20 minutes. Well, it just goes to show what 3 wins on the bounce will do to your confidence. Absolutely electric start here at Turf Moor, and Merlin coming in place of Tyrick Mitchell for the first couple of games this episode has performed admirably. Another wonderful assist after a fantastic ball into the box. Dominic Solanke rose highest. He gets another goal, 1-0. So it's Manuel now down this right-hand side. Has he got the beating of Merlin? Yes, he does, and he drives into the box here as Burnley look to try and see if they can get back in the game immediately. Merlin can't do enough, but eventually Dean Henderson does. Decore tries to clear their lines, but Burnley already showing that they are not going to give up this game without a fight. And now they've got a free kick in a really dangerous position, and it's one. It looks like they're going to try and strike here with Amdouni. Instead, he just dinks it over. It's a good head. Eventually, it just falls to Dean Henderson. My word, I thought the striker was going to get there before him. As Pacho, now the centre-back, full of confidence, finds Decore, who finds Merlin down the left-hand side as well, into Mateta. Mateta now looking for a ball into Szymanski, finds Szymanski, who finds Gray! Oh, he just puts it wide. Mateta wins the ball back and gives it to Quinton Merlin. Decore now back out to the left-hand side into Mateta. Mateta tried to feed it into Szymanski, but it was really well read and intercepted by Jordan. And now Amdouni can bring this one forward for Burnley, but it's another really good challenge, and we are playing absolutely fantastic here. My reserve players clearly showing that they are desperate for a starting spot here, as they're really putting on a clinic, as is this man Mateta, who's gone past 2 players. Oh my goodness, that is surely goal of the season. An absolute rocket from the Frenchman. My goodness, that is sensational. Well, he came knocking on my door at the start of the episode demanding why he's not getting enough game time, and my word, he may have a point. He dribbled past 2 players, and that shot is unstoppable into the left-hand corner, the top of the net. Absolutely fantastic. 2-0. Szymanski yet again, of course, into the man of the moment, Jean-Philippe Mateta. Dinks it across to Szymanski once again. Now plays it across to Merlin on the left-hand side. Plays it back into Mateta. Takes it on again, full of confidence. This time drags it wide. Well, it is absolutely amazing what just a few wins will do to the confidence and morale absolutely running through this squad. It's been a fantastic opening 45 minutes, arguably the best 45 minutes of the entire campaign. It's 2-0, and long may it continue. So it's Kyle Walker-Peters once again now into Dominic Solanke. Solanke's going to try and see if he can find Mateta. Can't, but Szymanski will pick up the scraps and play a wonderful ball out to Merlin. Merlin now into the box, looking for Gray. What a head off the bar. Kyle Walker-Peters wins it back really high, and the right back now drives to the edge of the box. Can he find a ball into the box? He dinks it across, looking for Dominic Solanke. Couldn't quite find him. Will we get ahead on the second ball? We will with Gray. Can Mateta get there ahead of the defender? He's pressing so high here, and he wins the ball back. Really, really good play there from Mateta. He lays it off to Gray, takes it on with his left, forces the keeper into a save. Well, you can really tell that these Crystal Palace players are playing for their starting positions here. It's been an absolutely fabulous display as Lerma just heads that one wide. It's Kyle Walker-Peters on the right-hand side into Dominic Solanke. Solanke gives it to Gray, who's been absolutely everywhere. He's orchestrated the midfield here, has the young man from Leeds. Solanke picks it back up again, back into Richards. Richards over to Pancho. Pacho now out to Merlin on the left-hand side. Really good play here. Merlin to float it in, looking for the big man up front. Can't quite find him. Will Gray pick up the scraps? He will get there first. Pacho picks it up again, out to Merlin. Every single ball that he's put into the box has threatened so far. Gray will play it all the way out wide to Kyle Walker-Peters. This time he plays it across the box, back inside. We cannot quite seem to find the back of the net, but my word, we are peppering that Burnley goal. It's Mateta once again to take it away from a couple of players here. Gray, lovely touch and turn away from the defenders. Tries to play a ball into Kyle Walker-Peters. He's been fantastic so far today. Decore picks it up, of course, back into that man Gray. Who else is it going to be? Kyle Walker-Peters in an advanced position, takes it on himself and looks to go for goal. In the end, it's a bit of tame shot. Easy for the goalkeeper. Into Kyle Walker-Peters. This has been exactly the sort of way you want to see us end the game here, as Kyle Walker-Peters goes past one, looks to go past the second, does go past the second, whips a brilliant ball in, looking for Szymanski, can't quite reach him. Gray will get on the loose ball though, into Dominic Solanke, who makes it 3, and he puts the game to bed. Gray will get the assist with a header, and it's nothing left that the young man deserves. Absolutely fabulous performance from him, and Dominic Solanke gets his second. It's our third. 3-0. Decore Right the way over to Carl Walker-Peters on the right-hand side. The right back now, again, brimming with confidence, takes it past two players once again, floats it back into the box. This time, it's across to absolutely no one as the referee looks to his watch here as Burnley try and bring it away, and he blows for full time. Well, these last few games, we have really given our Champions League fight a real shot in the arm. The players celebrate. It was a fabulous performance, arguably one of the best of the entire season, and it has come at the perfect time. It finishes Burnley 0, Crystal Palace 3. Well, I'd say you what, Jean-Philippe Mateta is supposedly furious with his lack of game time, and perhaps with the venom that he struck that strike with, he's showing that aggression and that anger out on the pitch. But long may it continue, because with 11 goals so far this season, he has really helped our attack. And as for Dominic Solanke, another 2 goals for him gives him a commanding lead at the top of the goal-scoring charts here for Crystal Palace Football Club. One man, though, who was the unsung hero of that game was this man Archie Gray. He's been a bit of a peripheral figure since joining, as he is only young, but whenever he's been asked to come in and deputise for the likes of Cheick Doucouré and of course Adam Wharton in the heart of the pitch, he's been absolutely fabulous. And with him just being 19 years of age and now already up to a 76 rating, with the big club sniffing around for the 21-year-old Adam Wharton, maybe I need to look for his replacement a little bit closer to home. Let me know down below what you think. Should I give this man Archie Gray a little bit more time to try and progress next season, or should I try and look to bring in another big name central midfielder? Let me know what you think. However, with 3 games left to play, it is still not in our hands as Liverpool lead us by 2 points. And after only managing to pick up a point at home against Spurs, but getting back in the win column 2-1 away from home against Everton, we've got just 1 game left remaining in this season to make history here at Crystal Palace Football Club in front of our own fans here at Selhurst Park. We must win against Sheffield United and hope that results around us against Liverpool go our way if we want to try and see if we can get into the Champions League for the first time in Crystal Palace's history. It's my best and my strongest starting 11 that will face off full fitness in this final game of the season. My word, what an important moment this could be in the careers of these Crystal Palace players. Well, if we can perform the same way that we did against Burnley earlier on in the episode, I will be absolutely thrilled, and I will be full of confidence that we can get the all-needed 3 points here against Sheffield United at home, as Munoz tries to go down the right-hand side, but Osborne does a really good job of defending, and I thought Munoz was going to get on that loose ball with that pressure, but unfortunately he wasn't able to, as Hammer now down this left-hand side finds Osborne once again. This time it's Margay who comes across, doesn't win it back, but Munoz, I feel like it's going to be a real ding-dong battle between the two of them all game long as he manages to get a free kick for his troubles. Going to be Hammer for Sheffield United who's going to take the free kick, and he deceived everyone by going short into Norrington Davis. It's Bornau now who has it on the edge of the box, but plays it back all the way to Norwood here, the centre-back, into Hammer once again. It feels like everything's going to go through that young man here today. Lovely pass into Conway. Conway takes it on, smashed it against Anderson. Fernandez takes it on himself. Henderson, though, with a bit of a good save, but he did make a little bit of a meal of that one, but eventually does manage to get onto the loose ball, and it's danger averted. Doucouré over to Munoz. We haven't really started this game with the same level of gusto and guile that we did against Burnley. Perhaps that is because I've made several changes. I did go back to my tried and trusted best starting 11, but perhaps I should have showed a little bit more faith in those players as Bogle gives away a corner, and we've got one here at the beginning, well, the opening 25 minutes of this game, I should say. Adam Wharton is going to take this one, floats it in, looking for the head of Moffey, who just heads it over the bar and wide. Doucouré will take it on, finds Munoz on the right-hand side, really nicely done, and Dominic Solanke now has options ahead of him, finds Kamada, who's been pretty quiet so far in this game. Kamada, though, lovely ball into Munoz. Munoz across the box into Terry Moffey. Brilliant defending in the end. Well, that was the best piece of play you've seen from Crystal Palace, and it took us 30 minutes to get there, but unfortunately, we still couldn't find the back of the net here, as both of these two teams are locked in a 0-0 battle here, but Terry Moffey's going to be the man to bring it away. Tried to play it into Dominic Solanke, but the run just wasn't there. Neither was the ball, and now Bene for Sheffield United to try and see if they can hit us on the counter-attack. It's a lovely ball out to Bogle on the right-hand side. He's inside my box here. We've got to be clever with the challenge. Tyreek Mitchell doesn't do enough, and it's a good strike and even better save from Henderson. Just under 40 minutes on the clock. It is still 0-0. Sheffield United have the corner. They throw it in. It's a really good ball in. It's cleared off the line by Mitchell. Doucouré can't do enough. He eventually does manage to get it away, but only to Conway. It's another big save from Henderson. Well, this has not been the same level of performance that we saw against Burnley in the second played game of this episode. We've really struggled so far here today, and Sheffield United are really starting to turn the screw as Doucouré could do nothing but just head it clear. And it's going to be Robinson who's going to be the man to take the throw. Gives it to Osborne. Osborne into Norwood now. The man to bring it forward into Conway, into the centre. Lovely ball, but this time Pacho reads it well. Gets it clear. Doucouré can be the man to try and clear his lines here, and he's taken out there by Fernandez. Will the referee issue a card? Doucouré Eze is flattened in a heap on the floor. He looks like he's in some serious trouble. Fortunately enough, he is held up by his teammate. It's only going to be a yellow card for Guillermo Fernandez, but let's take a look at the replay here, because for me, I thought that was an absolutely horrendous challenge here. Does he get the ball? No, he only gets the man. He is a very lucky man to stay on the pitch. Well, after a real tough struggle over 45 minutes, as you can see, it remains 0-0 at the very beginning of this second half. We've got 45 minutes left remaining on the clock here to resurrect our season and to try and see if we can qualify for the Champions League. But at the moment, it looks like Sheffield United are going to be the team who are going to get the early goal here, as Bene into Fernandez, who's just blocked off, and it looks like it's going to be a penalty that Pacho has just given away. Well, it was all too easy for them to just ghost into my box, and I don't think I can have any complaints about that one. It was a clear penalty. They make a substitution. Of course, it's going to be that man Hammer who's going to step up to take it. He sends the keeper the wrong way, straight down the middle. Sheffield United have taken an unlikely lead. Well, that is the worst possible outcome that I could have hoped for. About 55 minutes on the clock, and we've got it all to do here at Selhurst Park. And so with desperate times calling for desperate measures, I'm going to go back to the formation and the change, the tactical change that seemed to work so well for me against Fulham. I'm going to make a few different substitutions in the hope that we can try and find a route back into this game. But it's going to be Bogle for Sheffield United, who's going to pick it up and drive centrally here into Norwood. Norwood out to the left-hand side. And of course, with this formation change, it does leave us vulnerable in those wide areas defensively. But it's going to be Szymanski on as a substitute, who's going to bring this one forward. Plays a lovely pass into another substitute, and Carl Walker-Peters checks back inside, finds Szymanski, who finds Dominic Solanke, who finds the back of the net. And just like that, exactly the same way, and exactly the same thing that happened against Fulham has happened here today against Sheffield United. Immediately we make a change, and immediately we get ourselves back on level terms. It's the two substitutes who combine. It's Carl Walker-Peters and Szymanski down the right-hand side. They lay it on a plate for Dominic Solanke, who is in fine form at the moment. Just lifted over the goalkeeper. Wonderful finish. 1-1. Ball now for Sheffield United across to Norrington Davis to try and bring this one out of defence. No one putting any pressure on him. Fernandez, though, in the centre, gives it away to Szymanski. And now we've got the opportunity once again to try and see if we can hit them on the counter. Szymanski, that is not the ball you would expect better from a man of his quality. He just gave it away in a really good position. It's Archer for Sheffield United now being chased down, but Osborne has it back into Archer. This time Anderson can't put a challenge in, and Sheffield United have got themselves back in the lead, and it's all too easy to ghost into my box once again. Well, I thought the big Dane had put a challenge in. He had put a challenge in, but he wasn't strong enough. How many times have you heard me say that this season? Barely ever. And this time they managed to get into the box, and Henderson can do absolutely nothing about that. And all the hard work we did to get ourselves back on level terms is undone. 2-1. So it's Adam Wharton now across to Pacho. Pacho to try and bring this one out of defence. As you can see, there's about just under 10 minutes plus stoppage time remaining here on the clock for us to try and see if we can get 2 goals. As Merlin tries to play it across, it's blocked off by the defender. The left back will continue to try and drive down this left-hand side. Eventually does find a ball across into Szymanski. It's headed away by Hammer. Only out as far as Anderson, though, who picks it up and gives it to Kamada. Back into Szymanski. Szymanski shifts it onto his left, goes to strike. It's deflected. It's a corner. And it's going to be Kamada who's going to be the man to take this corner here. We have got to put everything into this one. It's floated in. It's headed clear, though, by the Sheffield United defenders. And eventually, though, it's Merlin who will get onto the loose ball. The left back now to try and drive all the way out to this left-hand side and try and see if he can find a man into the box. It is into the box. There's no one in there, though. The referee looks at his clock. We are deep into stoppage time, and he blows for full time. Disappointment floods through Selhurst Park. The players and the fans look to the floor as we cannot quite believe our eyes. Full time, Crystal Palace 1, Sheffield United 2. Well, I seem to be developing a habit on this career mode of bottling it in big games. I can take some solace in the fact that Liverpool won 1-0 away from home against Brentford, meaning that Champions League spot was out of reach. But it looks like Spurs, with that loss, have usurped us into 5th spot, and I don't quite know what that means if we will get European football for next season. In more positive news, though, Dominic Solanke finishes our top goal scorer with 21 goals to his name and 6 assists in a brilliant campaign for that young man. Kamada comes in second, 18 goals and 9 assists in a fantastic opening season in a Crystal Palace shirt. And Terry Moffey rounds off the top 3 with 14 goals in 38 appearances in a very good campaign for him as well. The worrying thing for me, though, is without Champions League football, will the likes of Mark Gay, perhaps the 21-year-old Adam Wharton, and maybe even the 23-year-old centre-back William Pacho start to seek pastures new? All 3 of them are starting to get their ratings into the mid to high 80s, and perhaps we've got a big job ahead of us at the beginning of Season 3, not just to try and improve this squad, but to try and convince some of the better players in our team that their futures belong along here at Crystal Palace Football Club. It's going to be a big ask, but one that you do not want to miss at the very beginning of Season 3. Of course, there is still some additions that we are going to need to make to this squad, so let me know down below in the comments what are the areas of the team that you feel like need the most improvement in order to take us to the next level. And of course, what sort of players would you like to see in a Crystal Palace shirt at the beginning of next season? But as for today, that is going to be it for the final episode of Season 2. I hope you will join me for the beginning of Season 3. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you again next time.